And I was thinking about those two illustrious names. I was thinking, how many Russian titles do they have between them? Maybe as old as Alireza is. And look at them go. Rossolimo, Sicilian, bishop b5. What we saw a lot of in the World Championship match between Magnus and Fabi.
And what you just said, Yaz, about Peter and Vlad and their Russian titles versus Alireza, you do realize Alireza was born in 2003.
Wow.
Right? Or I don't know when his birthday is, mid-2002 or
he
2003.
Turned 18
right?
in a few days, yeah.
He's Gen Z, right? So he just turned 18, that's right. So he's born in 2003.
Yes.
Which is hilarious. He's younger than my 19-year-old son. So we're talking about a baby. I mean, these guys, Vladimir won his world championship title in 2000. Alireza had no clue about that time. Like, what are you talking about? Well, maybe was a thought in his parents' brains. So, yeah, he's pretty young. He's pretty young, but that's not stopping him from being the number 13 player in the world and sitting here across these monsters and showing, hey, I got a lot of experience in blitz.
Right. And the players played pretty quickly up to this point. I mean, Alireza didn't spend any time playing the move knight f6. So I guess they're all in the theory. I would have hesitated, let's put it this way, to play the move. Now from the position, let's just take a quick gander at the position. Black's strategy is going to be very easy to call here. He's going to trade that knight and plant the bishop on the long diagonal and just be happy that he's got his structure intact. Again, the goal is to have good squares for your pieces, a fair control of the center, safe king. Both sides looking at very safe kings. Both sides are going to be happy. Now, from White's point of view, he's got a slight edge in space, which he might want to increase by playing for the moves b4 and c5. Again, I would have been more than happy to play knight takes d4 and bishop c6. Alireza plays the move queen c7.
Now, the traditional minus of the queen on c7 is a rook could land on c1 with a possible threat of knight to d5, where if you take back, then the pawn takes.
Yeah.
But in this position, the knight on f6 stops that idea and makes it not so strong. You need a bishop on that long diagonal, say g3, bishop g2, and then be able to play for knight d5 as a tactic. So queen on c7 is a very nice square. And I think Alireza has decided no reason to trade if he can bring his rooks to the middle. What are you doing with your knight on d4? Well, as a rook is going to end up on the d8 square next.
Yeah, this is where I want to play. I want to keep pieces on the board. I want to play the move knight f3, keep pieces on the board, rook c1, queen c2, and then this bishop will say, hey, you know, what's my motivation? I want to be on the long diagonal. But he played h3.
I feel like those two moves, a3 and h3, giving black moves that he wants, a rook on c8, a rook on d8.
I understand the idea of a3 is to play for b4, but he didn't follow it up that way. I also liked your idea of g3 bishop to g2.
Whoa, what a choice. This rook to d8? Why this rook, Yaz, and not the other one?
It's a wrong choice, frankly. He should have played rook on f8 to d8. Maybe it's not that serious.
Strange. Well, you know what?
We've seen it in the rapid,
It's a very specific move, though. It threatens bishop to c8, right? That was his point, but the queen just moved to e2 and sidestepped that idea, and now made you wonder, why is your rook sitting on d8 in this particular position? Because he was kind of creating some kind of tactic. If he had kept his rook on a8, then bishop c8 blocks in that rook. So he decided to use the rook to d8 with a kind of a coffee house tactic, if you will. I'm going to move my bishop out of the way, and suddenly you have problems along the D line. But queen e2 sidestepping that, and now Alireza has to prove why it was better. And he's played e5. What a decision! e5. Wow, he's decided he doesn't mind any weakness in his position right now by playing this move, and now rook to d1. d5 has definitely been weakened dramatically after this move. And e4, I'm not used to seeing these kind of moves being played.
he's gained space, but the question is, who won from that operation? Personally, I thought the pawn on e6 was just absolutely fine. Pawn on e4 is actually a little bit more vulnerable. I'm thinking as white that I would really like to play c5, b4, and queen to c4, and I'm trying to turn this pawn on e4 into a liability. Okay, bishop d4 is a very good decision, very good practical decision also by Peter Svidler. He's going to go play, eyeball the opportunity of playing queen e3 and bishop b6. That was the idea behind bishop d4, not to mention also the direct bishop f6 and knight e4 operation. Again, I'm thinking the pawn was best on e6 and that e4 is a kind of overreach by the young man. Nothing like passion and enthusiasm. Peter's kind of looking around.
You know, I decided I didn't want us to be fooling the fans who are watching. So I jumped in and took a look at what the engine thought and the moves that were just played, because they seem so shocking to me that I said, well, are they really that good? It turns out that Alireza has been playing suboptimal moves the last several moves. The engine did not like rook a d8. It liked rook f d8, as we said. The engine did not like e5. The engine did not like e4. All those moves have come as surprise moves, and he has allowed himself to get into an inferior position by playing this kind of enterprising chess. And it seems like he's trying to be direct in his attack. Now there's a threat of bishop to b6 he has to worry about as his rook is sitting on d8. Now his queen has had to drop back. And so his last several moves have allowed white to get a stable advantage in this position when he could have played some very natural, boring moves maybe, but they were far more natural than the moves he played. And now his e4 pawn is a target, and white just poised now to slowly improve the position. There goes b4, gaining more space. It is white for choice here because the young man has just been a little too enterprising.
Yes, that was exactly my perspective as well. Just a little bit of an overreach here by black as he's put his pawn on e4. And again, you know, pawn on e4 looks okay, does block the bishop, but it's this question that if I can play b5, maybe just round this pawn up.
Played. Oh, there it is, b5. Your pawn on e4 is looking.
I thought I played the move on to b5, not that it was on the board.
You played on your analysis board, and it was played in real time as well. That bishop on f1 guarding, and this is terrible for white. I mean, for black.
For black.
Terrible. I cannot believe he mishandled the position this way, and now he's going to have to get into his bag of tricks. He realizes he's made some poor choices, and Peter knows this is a dream situation, big opportunity to take the youngster down. Can he come up with some tricks? That is Alireza. We're talking about one of the oldest in the field versus the youngest in the field, but that's not going to bother Peter. He's a vet from way back, winning 8 Russian titles. Wow. You don't do that, not those gangsters in the Russian championships. You don't do that without being a true baller. And here's Peter getting it done. He's just played the move a4, stabilizing his advantage on that side. And he's got...
Was that the right choice, though, Maurice? It looked to me like he was supposed to play bishop f6 and knight takes e4. Just win the pawn first, play a4 later. He played a4 and allowed this move bishop b4. But I thought that Peter's intention with the move b5 was having driven this bishop off of the defense of the d7 of the e4 pawn.
Bishop f6 answered by pawn takes, as queen takes would have been met by the move you were talking about, Yaz. But this looks terrible. Is this good? Rook to d4. I hear what you were saying, Yaz. Yeah. I get it. But if this was a consequence, would you take this as white? Given how bad that pawn formation is.
I guess the thing you have to weigh up is your advantages. Which advantage is worth more? These double pawns on the king side versus the bird in the pocket, so to speak.
You like pawns, I know.
I'll take the pawn on
But doesn't
e4.
It look like the pawn is dead?
It's not so clear to me.
To me, it looks like the pawn is dead.
Well, I mean, okay, so first
Either
of all,
I kill you or I take your pawn. That's what it feels like.
Well, first of all, I've got 2 bishops now. So even if you kill my pawn, so to speak, so let's say I make a move, bishop to c8, for example. I'm saying I've got pardon me, my bishop is hanging. I have to make a move with my bishop. Let's say I go here.
He's just played bishop to a5.
Right. Oh, he has played. No, that's my move.
Oh, sorry, you played bishop. He played bishop c5.
He played
now,
bishop
and
c5.
now he said, let's trade queens, says Peter. So we're going to get the position you're talking about. Trade of queens, and rook takes on e4.
And here I think that just because of the two bishops, I have enough compensation for the pawn. Let's say I put my pawn on b6, and let's say I put my pawn on a5 and my bishop on e6, and I'm saying I'm a pawn down, yeah, but I'll have sufficient compensation to try to draw.
Wait, it is white to move. What if he trades rooks and plays knight d5?
He just played bishop b4.
I'm saying it's white to move, right? Or is it's white to move? I want to trade rooks.
And he did?
Oh, he played bishop takes instead. Yeah, because I was going to trade rooks and play knight d5. That was the big deal. He would have won another pawn.
Yeah, knight d5, there's a rook hanging, right?
But with bishop takes...
Yeah, now you have to play rook
No, I'm saying he could have traded if he had played rook takes instead on e8. If black had played rook takes,
oh,
he would have traded rooks and played knight d5.
Gotcha.
And would have won a pawn, another pawn.
But
in this position, he played bishop takes, realizing that. And now he does have those two bishops you were talking about. And it's not so easy. But Alireza is down to 4 seconds on his clock. 4 seconds and having to defend. Bishop c5 attacking the rook. And he's going to have to pick them up and put them down as his clock is ticking down precipitously. b6 played. He's on the increment almost right now. But his bishops are very active, as you pointed out, and it's hard to get in the move. Whoa, knight to d5. And now knight going to f4 instead. Bishop to c8. That bishop doesn't look that great on that square, I got to say.
Alireza is not playing
Bishop
very
c6.
well.
He needs a move. He's got to go. 5 seconds,
F6,
4
quick.
seconds, 3 seconds, down to 2. He let it go to 1 second. He's now on 3 seconds on the clock. And rook down, and now bishop to
Rook
e6.
takes e6.
Rook takes e6.
Well, he's just
no, rook takes
checking it.
e6. Knight takes on e6. If you had played rook takes e6, it would have been obstacle on endgame, right? Because bishop takes on d4. Now check.
And there's counterplay on f2.
And f2, sudden counterplay. But bishop to e8, getting his pawn for sure. But he can start checking. He can start checking it. How do you stop it? The young man has saved the game. No, he doesn't want to draw. What? This kid is serious. Like, let's play for the win somehow, some way.
With no
time on the clock.
Come on, Peter. What kind of move is bishop d7? You know,
and f4 looks dangerous, no?
You know you want your bishop on.
Check first. Another check to gain. Why not f4? f4, f3.
Rook takes g5.
And they repeated. I'm surprised at the end he didn't go for f4, f3 at least.
What else?